Longevity has always captured human imagination. From myths of eternal youth to modern science unlocking the secrets of aging, we've searched for ways to stretch our years. But the masters of longevity remind us that a long life is not about chasing immortality. It is about living with balance, vitality, and purpose. In this chapter, we explore what it means to truly master longevity. We'll see how nourishment, movement, rest, mindset, and community weave together to create a life that not only lasts but flourishes. The goal is not merely to add years, but to add life to those years, making them rich, connected, and meaningful. Section 1. The Timeless Pursuit. Longevity has fascinated humanity for as long as stories have been told. From the ancient myths of immortals who walked among mortals to the elixirs sought by emperors and sages, the desire to extend life has never left the human imagination. Yet the true mastery of longevity is not about chasing eternity. It is about cultivating a life so rich in quality, balance, and vitality that the years naturally expand. To be a master of longevity is to view time differently. Most people measure their life simply by years lived. But those who pursue longevity understand that a long life is more than counting candles on a birthday cake. It is about energy, clarity, and presence. A life stretched thin with fatigue, illness, and regret feels short, no matter how many decades it lasts. A life filled with strength, purpose, and daily renewal, on the other hand, feels abundant and timeless. Throughout history, wise cultures have quietly carried practices that nurture long life. The Okinawans with their simple diets and deep sense of Ikigai. The Hunza people of Pakistan, who thrive on physical activity, clean air, and mountain foods. The yogis of India, who saw the breath as a bridge between body and spirit. These traditions teach us that longevity is not a mystery hidden in laboratories or only found in genetics. It is a way of living that anyone can embrace. At its core, mastering longevity is about consistency over intensity. The modern world often glorifies extreme measures, strict diets, punishing exercise regimens, miracle supplements, or high-tech interventions. But the true masters of longevity take a different path. They know that it is not about burning brightly for a short while, but sustaining a steady flame for as long as possible. Like a candle shielded from harsh winds, their habits protect their vitality. This mastery also involves an attitude toward aging itself. Many people see aging as an enemy, something to fight, deny, or hide. But those who live long, meaningful lives often hold a gentler relationship with age. They embrace it with curiosity, humility, and gratitude. Wrinkles are not scars of defeat, but lines of experience. Gray hair is not decay, but a sign of wisdom. When the mind shifts from resisting age to respecting it, stress lessens, self-acceptance grows, and the body responds with resilience. Yet mastering longevity is not only personal, it is also relational. Social bonds, kindness, and connection are powerful extensions of life. Longevity research consistently shows that isolation shortens lifespan, while community lengthens it. Masters of longevity therefore invest not only in their own bodies, but in their circles of belonging. They weave themselves into families, neighborhoods, and friendships that nourish them emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It is also about rhythm. Just as nature follows cycles of sunrise and sunset, growth and rest, so too must human life follow rhythms. Sleep, nourishment, work, play, silence, and movement must flow in balance. Masters of longevity are not workaholics who collapse into burnout, nor are they drifters who waste their days. They find their cadence, a pace that allows them to thrive without depletion. The timeless pursuit of longevity ultimately asks us one question: what does it mean to live well? It is not enough to add years if those years are empty. Longevity without meaning is mere survival, but longevity with purpose is a treasure. Every day becomes a chance to create, connect, and contribute. Every year adds not just more time, but more fulfillment. In this sense, the master of longevity is less like a warrior fighting against time and more like a gardener tending to life. The gardener cannot control the length of the seasons, but can nourish the soil, water the roots, and care for the plant so it flourishes as long as possible. Likewise, you cannot stop the passage of time, but you can shape how vibrant and enduring your journey will be. Section 1 lays the foundation. Longevity is not an accident, nor a privilege reserved for the few. It is an art, a practice, and a mindset that anyone can adopt. In the following sections, we will explore how the masters of longevity eat, move, rest, think, and connect, revealing the pathways that make not only a long life, but also a life worth living. Section 2. Nourishment for the long journey. If there is a single pillar that supports longevity most visibly, it is nourishment. Food is not only fuel, it is information for the body, a message carried into every cell, shaping how we age. A master of longevity understands that eating is not about quick gratification, but about long-term harmony. Each meal is either an investment in vitality or a withdrawal from it. The world's longest-lived cultures reveal a common thread. They eat simply, locally, and with restraint. In Okinawa, meals often consist of vegetables, tofu, sweet potatoes, and small portions of fish, with very little sugar or meat. In Sardinia, meals center around beans, whole grains, olive oil, and vegetables, with wine taken moderately and always with company. In Nicoya, Costa Rica, traditional diets of corn, beans, and squash provide sustained energy. Though separated by oceans and languages, these communities converge on the same truth. Food is medicine when kept close to its natural state. Modern diets, however, often do the opposite. Highly processed foods, refined sugars, and chemical-laden snacks flood the body with stress, inflammation, and imbalance. Over time, these silent disruptors erode vitality, leaving the body vulnerable to chronic disease. Masters of longevity avoid falling into this trap. They see beyond the supermarket aisles and marketing labels, focusing instead on what nourishes, not merely what fills. But nourishment is not only about what is eaten, it is also about how. A hurried meal consumed in stress, distraction, or guilt robs the body of its ability to digest fully. In contrast, eating slowly, with gratitude and presence, allows the body to absorb nutrients more effectively. Many centenarians naturally follow this wisdom. Meals are shared, savored, and enjoyed in community, turning food into both sustenance and celebration. Another crucial element is moderation. In Okinawa, there is the principle of harahachi-bu, eating until 80% full. This gentle restraint protects the body from overloading the digestive system and prevents the metabolic stress caused by excess calories. Modern science now confirms that mild caloric restriction can extend lifespan and reduce risk of age-related illness. Masters of longevity do not live in constant deprivation, but they know that enough is often better than more. Balance in nourishment also extends to rhythm. Just as the body needs sleep cycles, it thrives on eating cycles. Regular meal times, fasting windows, and breaks from constant snacking allow the digestive system to rest and repair. Some masters of longevity naturally practice intermittent fasting, not as a trend, but as a rhythm passed down through tradition. These periods of pause trigger cellular renewal, clearing away damaged cells and strengthening resilience. Hydration, too, plays a quiet but vital role. Clear water, often from mineral-rich natural sources, supports cellular health, detoxification, and energy flow. In longevity hotspots, water is rarely taken for granted. It is drawn from mountain springs, wells, or rivers, carrying trace elements that modern bottled water often lacks. To be a master of longevity is to respect water as the foundation of life, not just a casual drink. Perhaps most overlooked is the relationship with food. For many, food becomes a source of anxiety, control, or even shame. Restrictive diets promise quick results but often end in frustration. Masters of longevity, on the other hand, hold food with reverence and joy. They do not obsess over numbers, nor do they wage war against their plates. They trust in balance, variety, and tradition. They allow themselves to enjoy flavors, share meals, and see food as a gift, not a burden. Nourishment for longevity is therefore not about following rigid rules or the latest trend. It is about cultivating a sustainable relationship with what enters the body, aligning choices with vitality rather than convenience. It is about choosing whole over processed, mindful over rushed, moderation over excess. It is about understanding that every bite carries energy, memory, and life. In mastering nourishment, we master not only the body's health, but also its future. For what we eat today shapes how we age tomorrow. A single meal may seem small, but repeated daily, it becomes the architecture of decades. The masters of longevity know this truth deeply. To eat well is to live well. Section 3. The power of movement. Longevity is not only nourished at the table, but also strengthened through motion. The body was designed to move, to bend and stretch, to climb and carry, to walk and breathe with rhythm. Yet in much of the modern world, life has become increasingly sedentary. Work is done sitting, travel is done sitting, leisure is often done sitting. The result is a body that weakens long before its time. Masters of longevity refuse to let stillness dominate. For them, movement is not an occasional activity. It is a lifelong companion. The longest-lived cultures again reveal a striking similarity. Daily movement is natural, not forced. Sardinian shepherds walk hills and valleys for hours each day, tending their flocks. Okinawans garden well into old age, squatting, lifting, and standing with ease. Nicoyans split wood, walk long distances, and keep active in their communities. Their exercise does not take place in gyms or on schedules. It flows seamlessly into the rhythm of life. Movement is woven into living, not added as a burden. Contrast this with modern exercise culture. Many people either avoid movement entirely or swing to the opposite extreme, punishing themselves with high-intensity workouts in search of quick results. While exercise has undeniable benefits, longevity is built not from bursts of effort, but from consistency. A master of longevity finds balance, choosing activities that can be sustained for decades, not weeks. Walking is perhaps the most universal of these movements. Simple, accessible, and gentle, walking engages the entire body while calming the mind. Studies show that even moderate daily walking lowers risks of heart disease, diabetes, and cognitive decline. More importantly, walking outdoors connects us with sunlight, fresh air, and the grounding rhythms of nature. Masters of longevity rarely underestimate the quiet power of a daily walk. Flexibility and strength also play essential roles. As the body ages, muscles naturally weaken and joints stiffen. Without care, this leads to falls, fractures, and a gradual loss of independence. To counter this, masters of longevity maintain their strength, not to sculpt physiques for admiration, but to preserve function. They lift, stretch, and use their bodies regularly so that movement remains fluid even in later years. In Okinawa, elderly women can still sit on the floor and rise without assistance, a sign of both flexibility and resilience. Breath-centered movement adds another dimension. Practices such as yoga, tai chi, or qigong combine physical activity with mental focus and respiratory control. These traditions are not merely exercises. They are disciplines that harmonize body, mind, and spirit. Scientific research now supports their benefits: improved balance, reduced stress, enhanced circulation, and strengthened immunity. Masters of longevity often turn to these gentle arts, finding in them not only health, but also calmness of mind. Rest and recovery are also part of the movement equation. The master of longevity knows that exercise without rest leads to wear, not strength. Just as muscles grow stronger during recovery, so too does the spirit renew itself in periods of stillness. Balance is the secret. Too little movement and the body decays. Too much and it breaks down. The steady middle path sustains vitality across the decades. Equally important is joy in movement. Many abandon exercise because it feels like punishment or obligation. But the masters of longevity move because they enjoy it. Dance, gardening, swimming, cycling, martial arts. These are not chores, but pleasures. When movement is chosen out of joy, it naturally becomes lifelong. A dance shared with friends, a bike ride along the coast, a playful game with grandchildren. These movements nourish not only the body, but also the soul. There is also a subtle wisdom in how masters of longevity approach posture and daily habits. They sit less, stand more, bend naturally, and avoid rigid patterns. Their homes and lifestyles encourage natural squatting, lifting, and walking. By design or tradition, Their environments require motion. In contrast, modern conveniences often strip movement away. Escalators replace stairs, machines replace effort, screens replace outdoor play. To reclaim longevity, one must reclaim natural movement. Ultimately, the power of movement in longevity is not about pushing the body to extremes, but about keeping it alive, agile, and resilient. A master of longevity sees movement as medicine, not a chore, as freedom, not duty. Every step, every stretch, every lift is an affirmation. I am alive, and I intend to remain so for as long as possible. In this way, movement becomes more than exercise. It becomes a philosophy, a way of honoring the body as a vessel of life, a practice of gratitude expressed through motion, and a reminder that longevity is not a destination, but a journey best taken with strength in every stride. Section 4. Rest, renewal, in the secret of energy. If movement is the fire that keeps life burning, then rest is the air that allows that fire to breathe. Without renewal, even the strongest body and sharpest mind begin to fade. Masters of longevity understand that energy is not infinite. It must be carefully managed, restored, and protected. Sleep, relaxation, and mindful pauses are not luxuries for them. They are necessities, as essential as food and movement. One of the most underestimated elements of longevity is quality sleep. While the modern world often glorifies late nights and constant productivity, the body pays a heavy price for neglecting its natural rhythms. Sleep is not wasted time, it is repair time. During deep rest, the brain clears toxins, memories are organized, hormones balance, and tissues rebuild. A master of longevity respects this nightly renewal, ensuring that sleep is consistent, unbroken, and aligned with natural cycles of light and darkness. In many long-lived cultures, sleep is treated not as a challenge to overcome, but as a natural rhythm to embrace. Evening activities wind down gradually. Artificial lights are dim, meals are lighter, and screens or stimulating noise are absent. The body is gently prepared to enter rest, just as it is gently welcomed into the day by natural sunlight. These seemingly small habits, repeated daily, accumulate into decades of restored health. But renewal is not limited to night. Masters of longevity weave micro-rests into the flow of the day. A short nap in the afternoon, a pause for tea, a moment of quiet reflection, all allow the nervous system to reset. These breaks are not signs of laziness, but signs of wisdom. They preserve energy rather than depleting it, ensuring that the body and mind remain resilient under life's demands. In Mediterranean cultures, the siesta has long been a respected tradition, offering both physical recovery and emotional calm. Stress management is another cornerstone of longevity. Chronic stress accelerates aging by flooding the body with cortisol, damaging cells and weakening immunity. Masters of longevity cultivate resilience, not by eliminating challenges, but by learning how to recover from them. Breathing practices, meditation, prayer, time in nature, and strong social ties all serve as buffers against stress. These tools restore equilibrium, ensuring that difficulties do not leave permanent scars on the body. Purpose also plays an unexpected role in renewal. People who live long lives often carry a deep sense of why they wake up each morning. This sense of direction provides mental strength, which in turn reduces stress and improves health. Without purpose, even rest feels restless, an empty pause with no meaning. With purpose, rest becomes preparation, a way to gather energy for what matters most. Equally vital is balance between effort and release. Masters of longevity know that pushing endlessly, whether in work, exercise, or thought, leads to exhaustion. They live by rhythms, periods of activity followed by periods of rest, expansion balanced with contraction. In this rhythm, the body thrives. Just as nature requires both day and night, growth and dormancy, so too do humans require both action and recovery. Renewal also extends to the emotional and spiritual self. Joy, laughter, music, and creativity act as powerful restorers of energy. Laughter reduces stress hormones, music calms the heart, and creative expression opens channels of vitality. Masters of longevity do not reserve joy for special occasions. They sprinkle it throughout daily life, keeping their spirits light even in later years. Protecting energy also involves saying no. No to unnecessary obligations. No to draining relationships. No to habits that waste vitality. By guarding their energy with care, masters of longevity ensure it is spent only on what uplifts, sustains, and fulfills them. This wisdom, learned through decades, is one of the quiet secrets behind their enduring strength. Ultimately, rest and renewal are not passive. They are active choices, deliberate acts of self-preservation. To live long is not simply to keep going, but to keep going well. Masters of longevity carry this truth within every breath. Energy is sacred, and when cared for with respect, it fuels a life not only long in years, but rich in vitality. Section 5. The mind, spirit, and inner balance. Longevity is not built by the body alone. While nourishment, movement, and rest form the visible pillars of health, the invisible dimension of the mind and spirit often determines how long and how well we truly live. Masters of longevity know that a life burdened by anger, fear, or emptiness cannot thrive, no matter how carefully the body's maintained. Inner balance is therefore not optional. It is central to the art of living long. The first element of this balance is mindset. Studies repeatedly show that people with a positive outlook tend to live longer and healthier lives. Optimism is not blind denial of hardship. It is the choice to focus on possibility rather than despair. Masters of longevity see challenges as teachers, setbacks as temporary, and aging itself as a gift. This perspective reduces stress, strengthens immunity, and allows the body to endure. In contrast, a cynical or hopeless view often becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, draining life force year after year. Equally powerful is the practice of gratitude. Those who live longest often carry a daily awareness of life's small blessings: the taste of fresh food, the smile of a child, the beauty of sunrise. Gratitude shifts attention from what is missing to what is present, creating contentment rather than longing. This emotional shift has measurable effects: lower blood pressure, stronger relationships, and improved resilience against illness. Gratitude nourishes not just the heart, but the cells themselves. Purpose, too, lies at the heart of longevity. The Japanese concept of Ikigai, a reason for being, captures this truth. Without purpose, years may stretch on, but they lack color and meaning. With purpose, every day carries significance. Whether it is tending a garden, caring for family, creating art, or contributing to community. Masters of longevity often remain active into old age not because they must, but because they want to. Their work, however simple, gives them identity and joy, weaving them into the fabric of life. Spiritual practice, whether through religion, meditation, or personal reflection, also plays a profound role. It offers peace in uncertainty, connection to something greater, and guidance during hardship. Masters of longevity often have rituals that anchor them: morning prayers, meditation sessions, or moments of silence before meals. These practices calm the nervous system, align the mind, and nurture resilience. Spirituality is not necessarily about doctrine. It is about cultivating inner stillness and trust in life's unfolding. Another key aspect of inner balance is emotional release. Long life does not mean clinging tightly to every wound or disappointment. Holding on to anger or resentment poisons the body as much as poor diet or inactivity. Masters of longevity practice forgiveness, not always as an act of reconciliation with others, but as liberation for themselves. To forgive is to free the heart from heaviness, making space for peace and joy. Mind health also requires stimulation. Just as muscles weaken without use, the brain deteriorates without challenge. Lifelong learners, those who read, write, play music, learn languages, or explore new skills, tend to preserve their cognitive vitality. Masters of longevity often remain curious and mentally active, engaging with life as students rather than retreating into stagnation. Their minds stay flexible, open, and creative, which in turn keeps them young in spirit. Connection between mind and body is also vital. Stressful thoughts and emotions manifest as tension, illness, and fatigue, while peaceful thoughts generate relaxation and health. Masters of longevity cultivate practices such as mindfulness or breathing exercises to keep this connection balanced. They recognize that thoughts are not harmless abstractions, but powerful forces shaping the body's chemistry and longevity. Ultimately, the mind and spirit shape how we experience time itself. Two people may live the same number of years, but one may feel constantly rushed, burdened, and dissatisfied, while the other feels spacious, calm, and fulfilled. The difference lies not in biology, but in perception. Masters of longevity choose inner peace as their compass, making even ordinary days feel abundant and eternal. The lesson is clear. The body may carry us through decades, but it is the mind and spirit that determine the quality of those decades. To master longevity is to master the inner landscape, cultivating optimism, gratitude, forgiveness, purpose, and peace. In this way, life is not merely extended, but uplifted, becoming a journey of meaning that continues to grow deeper with time. Section 6. Connection, Community, and the Web of Life. No one masters longevity alone. While food, movement, rest, and mindset shape individual vitality, the deeper truth is that human beings are woven into networks of belonging. Connection is as vital as oxygen. Without it, even the healthiest body begins to fade. Masters of longevity recognize this and nurture strong, lasting bonds with family, friends, and community. Their secret is not isolation, but integration. In every blue zone, the regions of the world where people live longest, community stands at the center. In Okinawa, women gather in moai groups, circles of lifelong friends who share meals, joys, and burdens. In Sardinia, extended families live close, caring for elders as naturally as they care for children. In Nicoya, neighbors visit one another daily, sharing stories, laughter, and support. These bonds provide not only companionship, but also protection against loneliness, a factor known to shorten life expectancy as severely as smoking or obesity. Modern life, however, often pushes people into solitude. Technology connects us superficially while quietly deepening isolation. Many grow old surrounded by screens rather than loved ones. Their conversations reduced to text and their communities fragmented. Masters of longevity resist this drift. They prioritize face-to-face contact, shared meals, celebrations, and traditions. They know that genuine connection cannot be replaced by digital convenience. It requires presence, warmth, and touch. Another dimension of community lies in service. Masters of longevity often contribute actively to the lives of others, whether through mentoring, volunteering, or simple acts of kindness. Service keeps the spirit alive, reminding us that we are needed. This sense of usefulness is one of the strongest predictors of health in later years. Those who feel irrelevant or forgotten wither quickly, while those who remain engaged with others continue to flourish. Family is a cornerstone of longevity, not only as a source of care, but as a source of meaning. Elders who remain connected to children and grandchildren often report greater happiness and resilience. Likewise, children who grow up surrounded by elders inherit wisdom, traditions, and grounding. This exchange across generations nourishes both sides, creating a cycle of vitality that extends beyond individuals. Friendship, too, plays a vital role. While family may provide duty and structure, friends offer choice and joy. Masters of longevity invest in friendships across decades, cultivating trust and loyalty. These friendships act as lifelines during hardship, offering emotional support and laughter that restore the heart. A meal shared with a friend, a walk taken together, or a story told late into the night, all are threads in the fabric of long life. Community also shapes health indirectly. In regions where people live longest, lifestyles are naturally aligned with well-being because the community itself upholds them. Local food, active traditions, supportive networks, these are reinforced daily. In contrast, environments that normalize fast food, sedentary habits, and isolation make it harder for individuals to sustain health. Masters of longevity choose communities, or build them, that support rather than sabotage their vitality. Belonging is also spiritual. To feel part of something larger, whether culture, tradition, nature, or faith, anchors the soul. It dissolves the anxiety of being alone and replaces it with trust in connection. Masters of longevity often participate in rituals, festivals, or spiritual gatherings that reinforce this sense of belonging. The result is resilience in the face of loss, comfort in times of uncertainty, and joy in celebration. Perhaps the greatest lesson from connection and community is that longevity is not measured in years lived, but in relationships nurtured. A long life without love is an empty shell. A shorter life filled with connection, however, feels timeless. Masters of longevity understand that when we share ourselves, our time, care, and presence, we multiply life not only for ourselves, but for those around us. In the end, the web of life sustains us. We are not separate threads, but part of a larger tapestry, held together by bonds of care. To master longevity is to weave yourself deeply into that fabric, ensuring that when your days extend into decades, they are rich, warm, and meaningful. That wraps up Master of Longevity. We've explored how nourishing the body, moving with purpose, resting deeply, cultivating a resilient mindset, and nurturing meaningful connections can extend both lifespan and vitality. By integrating these practices into daily life, we transform ordinary routines into habits that sustain energy, health, and fulfillment, allowing us to live longer with strength, joy, and purpose. Next, we'll move into lessons from Japan's centenarians, where we'll uncover the daily habits, mindful routines, and philosophies that have allowed people in Okinawa and across Japan to thrive well into their hundreds. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss these essential insights for living fully, vibrantly, and for the long haul.